Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel, Shanti with New Chapter. Welcome back to this series, Worthy, Flirty, and Thriving. And this is a thriving series, like I'm thriving on ideas. So I'm really excited to be bringing this topic for today. And we're going to be talking about singleness, okay? Singleness. Singleness is not a problem to solve. It's not a problem to solve. And I just never understood people's repulsion or discontentment with being single because I'm a pro at it and I've always just had so much fun being single. So I'm going to list all the reasons as to why you should enjoy being single. So let me just briefly go over my story. How are you guys? I wonder, I'm curious, have you guys been enjoying the series? I hope so. And I'm just going to keep continuing to bust out ideas until I don't feel inspired anymore. If you're new to this channel is dedicated to helping you live in a way that feels the most natural to you. So to me, I'm all about listening to my body. I'm all about listening to my instincts. I'm all about listening to my heart. So when I say do the thing that feels natural to you, I'm talking about those things. Listen to those things to kind of give you clues as to what direction you should go in your life. I am not like a super lifestyle person. I think it's because I'm a very creative person. I've always imagined that I'm going to envision or build the life I want to create for myself. I don't care about trends. I don't care about, any of that stuff. I just always had a dream for me living every day like it's my own. Like I'm the queen of my world, essentially. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of being single. So the reason why I've always loved being single is because, growing up, I watched the women around me and in my life who mean so much to me sacrifice so much, get into relationships and connections and just be naturally very giving. So that's always my understanding of a woman's perspective, is they can be naturally giving and they can lose themselves in connections and relationships because feminine energy is about being naturally quite empathic. So even men can have a lot of feminine energy where they're very empathic, they're very intuitive, they're very caring and caretakers and nurturers too. And you can always find that the energy shifts with your partner. It doesn't just stay like, sometimes your partner's more in their feminine and then you're in your masculine. Sometimes you're more in your feminine, they're in their masculine. So it can change just depending on the situation. So I had a deep resentment, I think, growing up towards men. I was just like, that's not going to be me. I'm not going to be the one who's sacrificing to be in my relationships and giving up my dreams, my desires, or just what I want, or just having fun and enjoying myself. And I just saw a lot of men kind of take advantage of women, but it's not because they're men are the enemy. That's also the thing I've come to understand. They're not the enemy. It's just that they have this natural tendency to take advantage if you let them, because they compartmentalize their thoughts, their ideas, even their emotions. They compartmentalize things. So if they see that their wife is already up doing the dishes, taking care of the kids, doing this, and she doesn't really say anything, but even if she's complaining, let's say she's still doing those things, he's just going to fall into his conserve energy mode, as Mina, the universe guru, likes to call it, and he will not get up to do it. He just won't. And that's just not my energy at all. I'm like, if I don't want to do something, I won't do it. And so I've often find that men will just kind of take care of things without me saying. They won't even expect it of me. And it's not like laziness. A lot of women have a lot of issues. They have a lot of resentment when they see women who are more in their relaxed state, where men are taking a lot of action in the relationships. And that's because they can't really admit it, that they might be actually jealous and envious of that woman who's not really having to do as much as she maybe did, sacrifice. So here, if you need the permission, I'm going to give it to you right now. It's your natural birthright to be in your relaxed feminine state. Let your partner pull their weight and make sure you're doing yours. What we have in generosity is our feminine energy. It's our feminine energy. So it's very rich energy. It motivates men. It motivates the masculine energy to feel like, okay, I want to be a provider. I want to take care of my family. And I was watching Little Black Book 91 the other day, and they were talking about emotional intimacy and how men feel more, or apparently there's a thing going around that men feel more safe in their masculine friendships than they are with their feminine counterparts, because the emotional availability is just more there, or something like that. And that's the thing. I'm like, that's what you provide for your partner as a feminine, is you provide that emotional comfort, that nurturing, that nourishing energy. It's very enriching. And so when you're there for him in that way, he's not really going to try to expect as much from you to do a lot. He's just going to enjoy your energy so much, your rich feminine energy so much. He just wants to be around you. So it's just you existing alone is enough. And that's what a lot of women kind of tend to miss. It's just like that energy is so rich. So when you're taking care of yourself, you're sleeping right, you're eating right, you're not overexhausting yourself, you're going to have a very rich romantic connection. Okay? So it's so funny. I started out this intro with talking about relationships. I'm like, be in relationships. The relationships are great. But now we're going to go ahead and talk about being single. So because I saw the women in my life struggle, I made sure to make it a point to study masculine and feminine energy and to study myself and observe my dynamic with men, because I had to get over that resentment. I'm like, I can't be in a healthy, safe relationship or partnership if I have this resentment towards men. And I know it's false because there are a lot of men who do a lot of great things. When I started doing my own inner work and my own healing, I started seeing what men were doing and how they have just natural like biological tendencies, like the conserve energy mode, where they just won't do anything if you're trying to do everything. Like, I love it how women will complain, but they'll still do everything, and I'm just like, why are you doing everything? Like, why are you doing that? Or, like, they'll literally bring up the problems. They're like, oh, you don't like me, do you? Oh, you don't like this dress on me, do you? Oh, you don't like my dinner, do you? I'm like, he didn't say that. Like, he didn't say that. You made that an issue in your relationship because women tend to get quite emotional and be overthinkers. And that's where the emotional control is just so sexy. Like, emotional control is so sexy when you're able to hone in on that, work on that for yourself. It just works to your advantage to create a really healthy, sensual connection with your partner, and it really deepens the intimacy because you don't have this wall up. Okay, now, so you can tell, like, me just, like, being in my single energy has allowed me to do this healing work. It's allowed me to come to this place where I'm accepting of, you know, masculines around me, and I appreciate them so beautifully. I appreciate their work. I appreciate their effort and the way that they love, and yeah. Okay, so talking about being single. So why is being single so great? Well, obviously, it gets you to do your inner work. You know, in my first video, I was like, if you're feeling those hormones of like, I want to be in a relationship versus I am ready for commitment, I feel like it's just the best time to kind of date casually. Maybe I'm more of a person who, I'm a committist, so I date for connections, I date for partnership. I'm very sensitive to people coming into my life, so what works for me is that when I'm single, I'm just focused on myself, and I'm just focused on my goals, I'm focused on my healing, I'm focused on my creativity. So when you're not exchanging that like sexual energy with your partner, you have more of that for yourself to kind of create the life that you want, essentially. So that's like the exchange that you're creating. Like when you're in a connection and you have all this creative life force and you're sharing that energy with them, but they're also taking care of you. So it's balanced. But when you're single, you can use that creative life force energy to just like really make your life so vibrant and so beautiful and so relaxed and energetic and get to know yourself. So to me, being single is the experimental phase about getting to know yourself. I'm not talking about experimental phase about relationships. You can use this as a time to get into relationships, but you really want to watch out for that because people are going to take up your energy. So be very discerning about who you invite into your energy. When I'm talking about experiment, I'm talking about experiment with who you are. Experiment with what you like. Experiment what food you like, what kind of lifestyle you like to live just by yourself. Because you're going to get to a place where you're so clear about who you are. And you're going to be so clear about what you want. And it's going to be very easy. You don't have to fend off guys who you're not wanting to invite into your energy. It's just the right ones are going to show up in your environment. And if the ones who you are not enjoying show up in your environment, you'll know right away. You'll be able to discern it. You'll sense it. You'll be so sharp to it. So a lot of people say that you need to go experiment and date a lot of people to kind of figure out what you want. Not necessarily, because I have a very rich inner world. I'm like, I saw people have healthy things and unhealthy things in their relationships, and I just took note. But ultimately, I'm just looking for someone who deeply accepts me for who I am. But in order for me to do that, I have to deeply accept myself for who I am. I'm looking for someone who wants to, like, a creative life, right? Who wants to create life with me. We're building life together. We're creating life. And so I'm just interested in tuning into whatever that is for me. So sometimes, it was so funny, I was watching a movie last night called It's Made in Paris, shot in 1966. And this young woman was kind of indecisive about what she wanted, right? She met this one guy, he was attracted to her, and then she met another guy, and she tried to like get her to like him, and then when he started pursuing her, she started running away. Like she didn't know what she wanted. So that has less to do with you experimenting and trying out different relationships. It has more to do with you experimenting and knowing yourself and just being decisive about what you want. She said she wanted it, like I want a suburban lifestyle, but now I'm confused because she got lost in the desire or lust or something. I don't know, lust, desires that can confuse you sometimes, and maybe you're thinking, okay, this is what I want. But I say do more window shopping than do more window shopping and less trying to act each lifestyle out. You know, I'm like, you could wear the clothing of each lifestyle, but to me, I mean, if that works for you. But I've always benefited so much more from just knowing, like, just deciding what I wanted. I could see something, I could see something, I could be around it and just know what I want. I don't have to go like, let me date 100 guys. I'm like, that's exhausting. Just thinking about like dating a bunch of people and being like, oh, that's what I want. And then people get exhausted by dating. They just get so exhausted. So I'm like, just become clear about who you are, and the right person is going to energetically line up with you. As far as singleness goes, it's not a problem to solve. You know, I think a lot of people call it a problem. People have been trying to solve the problem of my singleness for some time. Hey, you should date. I'm just like, I don't care. Like, in my mind, I've always been very strong in my opinions or just like how I want to live my life, essentially. And there was never any pressure. Like, people would like pressure me, but I never really felt the pressure. And I would always be like, they have no idea. In my mind, because I was still healing that masculine connection or connection to masculine. So I'm like, please, I'm doing great right now. I'm living the life. You know, what I see other people doing in the relationships, that just looks like so much work, so much struggle. So I would always be thinking in my mind, they have no idea what they're doing or talking about. I essentially got to a place where I'm in a really healthy place. And I'm like, I was on the right path. Because I kind of experienced a little bit of trauma watching other people in their unhealthy relationships dynamics. It kind of traumatized me. I had to heal that for myself. And I had to realize, okay, I can trust, but I had to develop that within myself. So to me, singleness is very fun. It's so fun. It's so freeing. It gets to be fun. You know, whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, I'm just like, having a strong all or nothing opinion is not healthy. To me, both of them serve a really healthy and beautiful purpose in your life. If you're at that point in your life where you're like, okay, I'm ready for a relationship, like, just be ready. But just keep energetically aligning for it. So being alone is a privilege. I truly believe that being alone is a privilege. It is. I feel like it is a period of unapologetic selfishness. It's so funny, like when people are single, they're like, oh no, I want to be in a relationship. And then when they're in a relationship, they're like, oh, I want to be single. I'm like, that's why you need to appreciate every single moment. Appreciate when you're single and appreciate when you're in a relationship. So I know that I want to appreciate those single moments and periods in my life, because I'm like, these are the times when I can be so unapologetically selfish about whatever I want. I can leave my socks anywhere and it's not going to bother anyone. And I literally feel in bliss when I look at that. Like, I make a mess and I'm like, no one's telling me where I need to put these socks. Like, no one's bothered by that. So I think it is absolutely a privilege. Use that as a time to be unapologetically selfish, because when you get into partnerships, what do people say? They start saying things like, if you want to do things, but the thing is, because you didn't give yourself that opportunity to unapologetically enjoy that thing, now you're feeling like you have to represent yourself like a lawyer. You have to be your own lawyer and be a representative and be like, hey, I'm allowed to go out with my friends. Because you've developed this mentality that perhaps as a woman, when you're in a connection or you're in a relationship, you have to keep sacrificing or you have to be there for your partner. I'm like, just own it. You know, what you want is what you want. But I'm telling you, it's going to be less of an argument and a problem when you get into a connection if you've just learned how to own what you want. You know, you just get into the habit of being unapologetically selfish about things. You're going to find a fluid, natural essence. So another thing I didn't really write on my notes is that it helps you to fill your cup up. Being a woman and going to work and giving people my energy, that alone would be tiring and tire me out. So it really helped me to align with what would fill up my cup. So I started doing creative projects on the side to fill up my cup. And this is something, I'm like, that should be a normal part of your day-to-day life and your day-to-day routine. And people treat it as if it's a chore to do things that they love. And they're like, oh, I should do it, but I but I'm not. I'm like, that's fine, but I'm just saying it might help you so much more just to do it, just to do the thing that you've been wanting to do for so long. Because then you're not going to have this inbuilt resentment towards your partner or your kids or whatever else about, I'm not allowed to be free. Freedom is mentality, has nothing to do with whether you're in a relationship or not. And in fact, the most healthy partnerships are going to help to cultivate or help to support the freedom that you get to experience within yourself. I'm not talking about like dating everyone while you're in a relationship. I'm saying like freedom is an experience within ourselves. It has nothing to do with how we like openly want to express ourselves. I think you can tell when someone is feeling free, they feel really authentic. Their energy feels very straightforward. So to me, people who are truly free, their energy is very direct, very clean, essentially. So it just gives you a really good opportunity to figure out what fills up your cup, what's fun, and what feels good. You know, learning how to meditate, learning how to be in your own energy. You're just like, oh, this feels so good. And now I'm always going to remember this, take this feeling with me when I am in a connection. I'm going to know how to fill up my cup. So the next thing is a serious topic, which is, the serious task under being single is you can't run away from yourself. That's why being single is great, is you cannot run away from yourself. You can't run away from your thoughts. You can't run away from your insecurities. You're just there with them all day and you have to listen to them. So it really gives you an opportunity. Some people, they go in the opposite direction. They become even more of a critic and pessimist or even cynical towards life when they're in that, in their head a lot, versus having like distractions and people around them and a lot going on around them. But to me, I'm learning how to just be like so happy and work with the energies of like the thoughts and what's going on around me. I'm learning how to read my body. I'm learning how to read my energy better because I can't run away from myself. So I've always been a naturally very honest person. I've always been on this soul-seeking journey. It's always made me so curious about life. But I've really appreciated that I've had to sit with myself, and I just feel like I've gained so much. I want to honor this time. I feel like I talked about that before, but let me just repeat that. It's so important to honor this time and to use it well. Honor it and use it well. Respect it. Stop trying to run away from being single and run into a connection. Stop trying to run away from a connection just to be single. Honor each of those experiences in your life. This is a really great time to learn how to cultivate a deep satisfaction within yourself. So that is kind of talking about filling up the cup, but all in all, I kind of have a meditation now where I'm listening to like what makes me feel deeply satisfied, or how can I tap into the energy of deep satisfaction within myself without going anywhere or doing anything or achieving anything, achieving any kind of goal. So I'm learning how to just cultivate a deep satisfaction within myself. And as a result, I'm not going to put any kind of pressure on anyone else in my life or around me to satisfy my needs or my desires, because I'm already attending to them. So a relationship can be very confusing, I think, sometimes because you have these expectations for that person, because they, the first phase was like in love, right? They brought all of this euphoria and dopamine into your life and it felt really great, and then you keep waiting for that feeling to return again, but it has nothing to do with, ironically, it has nothing to do with that person. It has everything to do with the reason why the relationship was exciting was because you thought it was exciting. You're like, oh, this is new, this is exciting, I'm falling in love, all this dopamine, euphoric feelings are running through me. But then you're supposed to learn how to cultivate it again, like just being in flow with your body, being in flow with your life, getting creative, doing things that inspire you helps you to tune into that deep satisfaction with yourself. The last thing I want to share is that I know my purpose. And I know to some people that sounds very direct to say, oh, I know my purpose, but it's true. I know my purpose. That's something I've had a sense for years, but I'm fully leaning into it this year. And I'm ready. I'm ready. I've learned how to just embrace my life purpose. And I have to say, if you're in a single period and you've realized your life purpose, it's going to only level up your connection and your relationship with your partner, because there's a strong sense of character that comes with knowing your purpose. There's a strong sense of vision for how you want to live your life. Before then, it's kind of confusing. If you just get into a relationship without knowing the life that, or the vision that you have for your life, then you might get someone who holds a different vision. And maybe part of you is like, oh, I'm willing to be flexible, but part of you is like, no, I don't want to be that flexible. I want what I want, and yada, yada, yada. All in all, I think relationships in general are just a really great time for you to learn how to be really giving, like really humble and giving without expecting. To me, that's what relationships are really challenging. It's like, can we give without expecting? Can we devote just because we love devotion so much, or commit just because we love commitment so much? But otherwise, use this time, if you are single, to find out your purpose. I don't really believe these days that you have to try to find your purpose or try to do this or try to do that. I think when you're just attending to your natural needs, you're making sure you're eating well, you're checking in with your body, you're doing journaling, there are going to be natural urges that come up. So you might just have this urge to be like, I want to sign up for a class, I want to get creative again, I want to go pursue a degree. Because there's no distractions or people to distract you, you have a strong sense for these urges. So I have I'm very attuned to my urges. I know what I need to create because I got the energy and everything's just aligned. I know when I need to, I don't know, take a shower, go for a walk, or read a book, or I know when I need to connect and reach out to friends. Like there's like these natural urges that come up, and I'm in flow with it. So yeah, I think maybe in a future video we'll dive further into finding your life purpose. I would like to share this tip because I'm going to do this on my other channel, is don't look for motivation. Don't look for motivation. Don't try to get motivated about trying to make or build something, because that's you running away from yourself. Like sometimes people are like, oh, I need motivation. So they watch all these motivational videos to like get them in that mode, essentially. But I'm like, the motivation comes from you. So I'm like, just listen to yourself, learn how to sit with yourself, journal, get curious about who you are, and you're going to learn how to be motivated. I found my life purpose because I don't have to be motivated to figure out what I want to do. I'm just very passionate. I have just a very direct compass. Like I'm like, oh, okay. I know what I don't like and I know what I do like. And I know what I'm passionate about helping people to formulate. And I really want to help people formulate, just live in a way that feels natural. Like I don't want people to feel like they have to complicate the process or feel like it's confusing for them. I want you to appreciate every aspect of everything that you're doing. So I thought this would be a really good topic because this series is called Worthy, Flirty, and Thriving. And I think even in your singleness, you can be flirty and enjoy that experience within yourself. Like flirty to me is about being fun, being playful. And it's about not putting all this pressure on yourself or your life. It's about connecting with people as well in a very playful way. So to me, it's like when you are able to embrace this energy in your singleness, flirty during that period of time is going to feel amazing. I promise. If you really listen to it, I promise it's going to be great. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. For the Worthy, Flirty, and Thriving series, I will see you guys next time for a future video. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Make sure you like and subscribe to support the channel. Your homework is to kind of figure out which of these bullet points or topics that I've discussed under the singleness energy applies to your life, and what would you like to amp up the ante in your life, or how you would like to go about doing that. If it inspires you, go do it. I'm all about inspiration. I will listen to a teacher. I won't take all of their advice, but I'll take some of the advice that applies to my life at that point in time. Okay. I hope you guys have a beautiful day or evening.